Hello everyone, let's proceed with another subtopic of critical reading, namely evaluating a reading text. Evaluating is all about making a judgment whether something is good, bad, accurate, misleading, worth buying, worth seeing, or others. When you evaluate your reading text, you give your opinion of its value. When you give your opinion, you need to be able to justify reasons why you have that opinion. For instance, you love that reading text because the writer was logical, the story was interesting, and the point of view narrated or presented by the writer was important. Or you can dislike it because of it is illogical, boring, or perhaps the point of view presented in the reading text or the information presented in the reading text is not important at all. So why you need to evaluate? You evaluate because you want to build, you want to enhance your reading comprehension skills. You evaluate because you want to discover important information in your reading text. You evaluate because you want to know the writer's style of writing, choice of words, whether the writer utilizes maybe simple vocabulary or even highly technical terms in his oral writing, or perhaps other text features. You evaluate because you want to confirm, extend, or change your personal views based on the topic of the reading. You evaluate because you want to explain when you do not agree, or perhaps agree with the information presented in your reading text. You even evaluate because you want to recognize relevant and valid information. You want to interpret it, you want to evaluate it in terms of its usefulness or reliability. You even evaluate, furthermore, because you want to make a judgment about information based on your background knowledge, your prior knowledge, your schemata and experience, whether your culture perhaps condone it or not, and the purpose for reading. Let's say the topic of that particular writing is all about vaccination of COVID-19. So did your culture condone it or not? If the article carries a very hot issue, for instance LGBT, does your culture condone it or not? So you're going to integrate the information that you obtain from your reading text with your background, schemata, and your experience. Then you align it with the purpose of your reading. So what should you do when you evaluate? You need to focus on ideas and information in a text and consider its relationship with your own views and purpose of reading. Not only that, you need to make thoughtful, evidence-based judgments about information presented in the text. And finally, consider how your judgments affect your response towards the text and determine whether you need to seek more information about it or collaborate with others. Let me give you an analogy how actually you have implemented the concept of evaluating in your life. This is an Aladdin's movie, one of Disney's movie. So this Aladdin movie, some of you might love it, might fancy of it. Why? When you say that you really love the movie, you need to be able to justify why. Maybe you love it because it has strong score music. The soundtrack is very fascinating to you. Some of you really love the magical elements, the magic carpet ride, the magic lamp. The plot itself is very funny, sentimental, inspirational, or maybe you love it because of the characters presented in the movie. You love the genius character played by Will Smith. Some of you really love the flamboyant, colorful wardrobe and jewelries, or even the set itself. You have majestic castle in the movie. And some of you might not like it because your own reasons. So actually, When you watch a movie and you tell someone else that it is good, great, or lousy, you are giving your own evaluation of that movie. You often will add it with a reason why you love it, why you did not like it. Maybe you love it because the plot was funny. Or maybe you dislike it because there's too much violence in the movie. Or maybe you love it because you like the character. Same goes with this example. You want to buy a watch badly. So you are browsing through a list of watches on a shopping website. So when you compare prices, specification, additional features, extra benefits, and design between those lists, actually you are analyzing them. You compare the prices between the brands, which one has which watch has high prices or low prices. Not only that, its specification, whether it is a smartwatch, conventional watch, additional features of it, extra benefit. Maybe if you purchase this watch, you will get 5 years of warranty, or perhaps maybe you have 50% discount, or buy one, free one. The design itself, whether it is modern, sleek, or very traditional. So actually, when you are comparing, you are analyzing it. At the moment you start choosing the best one to purchase and start to think which one is better to suit your lifestyle, perhaps your budget and your needs, you are evaluating. So when we put in the context of reading materials, you need to evaluate sources for reliability by using these 3 elements. First, the author. Is the author clearly identified? Normally when you have a reading article, normally you will have title and written by whom. What is the author's level of expertise regarding the topic? Is he or she someone who's very reputable in the field, or just only a keyboard warrior? So you need to determine who is the author. Next, bias. Is the purpose of the information is all about to inform or persuade reader? Is the information is factual information or just only simply an opinion? If it is opinion, is it being supported with valid evidence referring to other sources? Is the language emotive or neutral? Next, timeline. When was the information published? Check if it's hard copy. The copyright date on a book's imprint page. You can refer to the back of the page. If let's say magazine, date of issue. Same goes with journal. Same goes with newspaper. Or if you're referring to a website, take a look when it is last updated. Is the information up to date? You need to discover it. So when you evaluate contents from various views, you can always ask these questions. What is the evidence from various viewpoints? Which points are in agreement? Which one disagree with it? Make sure you consider all sides of arguments, especially with the point of view that you are disagreeing with it. Are there any logical connections between the various sources and ideas? Compare what you have found with your initial thinking about the topic. Do you still think the same way, or have your views changed after you have read that reading materials? Which of the ideas you have found are relevant to your needs? Let's say you want to complete an assignment. Does it related with the topic that you are about to write or not? So these are the questions that you can ask when you evaluate reading text. First, how does this information fit into what you already know? Second, how does the writer convince you that the information is valid? Third, why would you read another book by this writer? Number 4, does the writer present an argument in his or her writing? Number 5, what changes will you make to the text? And finally, what do you like about the text? Ask these questions. Not only that, if you want to evaluate a reading text, these are the guidelines that can be useful that you can refer to if you want to evaluate a reading text. If you want to evaluate its significance and contribution to the topic, you can always ask these questions. What is the author's aim? To educate? To inform? To persuade? To what extent has this aim been achieved? How does this text add to your own body of knowledge about what you know, your background knowledge about it? It could be in terms of maybe theory, data, and or practical application. What relationship does it have to other ideas in the topic or other materials from the same topic? What is missing? Not stated at all in the reading text. Is it a problem? Is it a solution? Or a statement? If you want to evaluate methodology or approach, this is referring to a more formal reading text, research-based text. You can always ask these focus questions, such as, what approach was used for the research? Is it qualitative? Qualitative means it involves a series of analyzing data from interview, from observation. Is it quantitative? It involves statistical numbers, elements, analysis, review of theory or current practice, comparative, case study, personal reflection, etc. How objective or biased is the approach? Are the results valid and reliable? Does it utilize the right methodology to conduct the study? And even, what analytical framework is used to discuss the results? Not only that, if the article that you read, you want to evaluate its argument and use of evidence, you can always ask these questions. Is there a clear problem, statement, or hypothesis? What claims are made by the author? Is the argument consistent throughout the writing? What kinds of evidence does the text relies on? Does it refer to reputable sources? How valid and reliable is the evidence? How effective is the evidence in supporting the argument? What conclusions are drawn by the author? Are these conclusions well justified? So you need to figure out the answers from your reading. And finally, writing style and text structure. You can always ask questions. Does the writing style suit the intended audience? If it's for expert, it utilizes the right jargon, vocabulary of writing. Maybe it should fit into their level of knowledge. If it's non-expert, then the choice, the flair of writing should be intelligible for them. Is it intended for academic, non-academic? What is the organization of the text? Is it comparison and contrast? Is it argumentative? Could it be better organized? Alright, let's try this activity together, shall we? You are being given with a simple reading passage. For years, video games have been criticized for making people more antisocial, overweight, or depressed. But now, researchers are finding that games can actually change us for the better and improve both our body and mind. Games can help to develop physical skills. Preschool children who played interactive games such as the one available on V2 have been shown to have improved motor skills. For example, they can kick, catch, and throw a ball better than children who do not play video games. A study of surgeons who do microsurgery in Boston found that those who played video games were 27% faster and make 37% fewer errors than those who did not. Vision is improved, particularly telling the difference between shades of gray. This is useful for driving at night, piloting a plane, or reading X-rays. So you are given 2 questions to be answered, namely, do you personally think video games are good for you? And why? So first thing first, you need to indicate what is your stand. Agree, disagree, or partially agree. If you disagree with it, you need to mention the reasons of it. Why? Justify the reasons. If you agree with it, you can always answer it through this way. Yes, I personally believe that video games are good for me because it helped me to boost my mind's ability to process information and be a better problem solver. This is parallel with the statement narrated in the text, namely, a study of surgeons who do microsurgery in Boston found that those who played video games were 27% faster and made 37% fewer errors than those who did not. So you justify it after you have mentioned what is your stand towards the issues mentioned. So here the issue mentioned, do you think that video games are good for you? So we are done with our lesson of the day, and it's time for you to complete your tutorial task. What you have to do, you need to visit the author, view the attached document in author, and complete your tutorial task, week 3, critical reading, analysis, and evaluating reading text for your tutorial task. See you in the next video. Bye!